Hey, folks, good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Thursday, August 28th. Pittsburgh Steelers are off for 4 days as they take Labor Day weekend off. Mason Rudolph told me he's going fishing. I assume most of the rest of the team is similarly headed to some relaxation destinations. Although I did talk to Roman Wilson, who said he's just staying in his place in Pittsburgh because, well, that's a long trip home for the young man from Hawaii. Said it's always been like that for him. When the team gets a little break, he just hangs out, lifts weights. I am hanging out today. Might try to find my way to the golf course, but yeah, no practice for a few days. I want to talk about the practice squad. Got a lot of questions about some procedural stuff about the practice squad over the last few days that I just wanted to address in one place, since the Steelers did mostly fill their practice squad yesterday, curiously leaving one spot open. We'll see what that leads to here over Labor Day weekend. But there's a lot of rules and things with the practice squad that I just wanted to kind of regurgitate and clarify, because a lot of people had some questions. First and foremost, about what happens to players on the on the practice squad when another team wants to sign them. The rules about coming up and going down. And I also got a good question here about how much they get paid. So we can address all of that here in one place, and then leave it here for the rest of the season. So I guess the first question is, players on the practice squad, are they protected in any way from just being poached by another team willy-nilly? Can the Steelers still lose Beanie Bishop or DeMarvin Leal if some other team changes their mind after they went through waivers the first time and said, you know what, we actually do want that guy? So first of all, waivers are forced. So if the Steelers put Beanie Bishop on waivers, any of the other 31 teams could have claimed Beanie Bishop, and he would have had no say in the matter. He would have had to go to that other team. When a player's on a practice squad, the moves are never forced. So if Beanie Bishop is on the Steelers practice squad and the Browns call him and say, hey, we would like to sign you, and Beanie goes, no, I don't want to play for the Browns, then he doesn't have to go. He would have had to go if they claimed him on waivers. He doesn't have to go. If a team says we would like to sign a player on the Steelers practice squad, the Steelers also get the option of then adding him to their 53-man roster to prevent him from leaving. They can say, no, actually, we'll promote you and we will cut somebody else and we'll keep you. Teams also have to keep a player they sign from another team's practice squad on their 53-man roster for at least, I think it's 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And so that is served as a disincentive to willy-nilly snatching people from players' practice squads. This stuff doesn't happen too often. Usually, a team will not grab a player from another team's practice squad unless they suffer an injury that is going to be of at least medium term, and they know they're going to have a significant role for that player for at least a little bit of time. I think it was 2 years ago, the Steelers suffered a injury and they ended up grabbing Darius Rush off the Chiefs practice squad, and he played for 6 weeks or something like that. It was Keller Witherspoon's hamstring, maybe. That's the kind of thing where it's like you have an injury, you're going to have a role. Teams don't just grab a guy to stash him for depth of another team's practice squad. So that's the first part of it. The what happens when another team wants guys. So yeah, theoretically, any team can come calling for Beanie Bishop, and then the Steelers will either have to sign him back or they'll have to let him go. And of course, there's also this like protection thing that happens, but that's not as big of a deal anymore. That started that during COVID. But so, basically, those players are going to be with the intention of signing into the practice squad is that those players are going to be with the Steelers for a while. If somebody else ends up having a better opportunity for them, the Steelers will decide whether they want to let them go or not. Now, players can play from the practice squad. They can be elevated and play, and that can happen 3 times in a season. After the 3rd time, if the team wants to play them for a 4th game, they have to be put back on the 53-man roster. So James Pierre on the practice squad right now who has been the team's starting punt gunner. So maybe the idea of the Steelers is, hey, we just want to see if Brandon Eccles can do it because he's going to be on the team anyway. He's our dime corner and top backup at inside and outside. So let's see if you can do it. And then maybe things don't go well, or maybe somebody gets hurt, and then they don't want Eccles doing all that and that. And then, okay, they can bring Pierre up. They can do it for 3 weeks, but then they have to go to do something else. So, like, guys that got cut on Tuesday can play in week 1. You could see Beanie Bishop out there in week 1. I doubt it, but you could. You could see James Pierre. That one seems much more likely out there in week 1. You could see Chuck Clark if he had gone to the practice squad. He got signed back to 53-man roster today. But if they put him on the practice squad, they're still going to use him the first 3 weeks and then put him on the active roster. Those are all possibilities. So, you will see some of those guys that are on the practice squad over the course of the year, almost certainly. Now, they get paid more when they are on the active roster. If you're on the active roster or called up to the active roster, you get paid the NFL minimum. Practice squad players do not get paid the NFL minimum. They get paid significantly less from a veteran. Or I'm sorry, a veteran will get around like $17,000 to $20,000 a week. A rookie or a young player with less than 2 years of experience will get maybe $13,000 to $15,000 a week. I think the maximum is like $22,000 a week. So that's a good amount of money. I mean, you can do the math if you are not very good at math. $22,000 a week times 18 weeks is almost $400,000 a year. And they get per diem, and they get, they'll have their money from their workout bonuses and everything that they got during training camp as well. So a good year on the practice squad, maybe you get called up for a game or two. Not that hard to net $500,000. It's not a bad life for those guys that are in that situation. And that is when I think about like the way the NFL has changed in terms of the pay structure since I've been around, probably the most dramatic change. Those guys went from making, almost nothing to now making really still life-changing money. Like those jobs are really, really, really good jobs. And they're really competitive. Guys really, really want them. Sometimes you will see a guy like Robert Woods, who has made over $70 million in his career, decide, I don't need to be on a practice squad. I will just sit at home and wait for my opportunity. But almost everyone who is a younger player who has not had those opportunities will definitely jump up at a practice squad role. So that's the practice squad, the money, how it works, aspect of it. If you have more questions about procedural stuff like that, I feel like Morning Rush is the best outlet for it. So bring them on. And until then, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the afternoon drive. Me and Smitty, 6 o'clock. Enjoy.